How are stock levels right now? I mean, it's the eve of Eid. Are shelves as full as you want them to be at this point?
Well, not just shelves, Becky. Our shelves, our distribution centers, and our storage facilities around the country and across the region are at the same stock level you would expect them to be in any normal day. And in fact, if you see shoppers behind me, if you wouldn't be listening to the news or you would put aside your phone for a couple of hours, you would think this is a normal shopping day in Dubai and the UAE. Of course, there has been a bit of a peak or a jump in consumption in the first few days of the conflict. That lasted probably 4 or 5 days. And in the 6th, 7th day, we started seeing sort of shoppers return to their normal shopping behavior. And I guess the reason for that is very simple. People come to the store, order online, see that everything is working, their favorite snack or regional condiment is available, and that sort of exudes confidence in society.
That's right, and that's good to hear. What about pricing during this period? How much pressure are you under to keep prices down? And do you or could you expect shoppers might see price changes at some point soon?
Well, there is certainly inflationary pressure, and we need to remind ourselves that inflation hasn't really gone away since COVID. We've remained in an inflationary environment. Interest rates have not yet reverted to their historic means over time. So inflation has been a background matter for a long period of time. Of course, the current disruption to supply chains and the rising price of oil could have long-term inflationary pressures. We know that for every 10% increase in oil price on the long term, there is a 0.4% increase in cost of food. So that obviously adds up. What we're doing from our side and what we've been doing for a long period of time is that we've been investing in localizing and regionalizing our supply chain. And contrary to popular belief, not everything is imported into the region. In fact, 50% of our fresh vegetables, 80% of dairy, and almost 100% of fresh poultry is produced either in the UAE or in the neighboring GCC countries. So that allows us to shorten our supply chain, ensure availability, and avoid sort of the inflationary prices that come with imports from far-flung markets.
And that building of sort of food resilience here has been a story that we've been covering pretty much the entire time that I've been here for 15 years. There's been a real effort, and there's a Ministry of Food Security, of course, a real effort to sort of increase the resilience of this country in the face of the sort of shocks that we're seeing right now. The UAE's Ministry of Economy said in a statement, and I quote, "The UAE possesses a strategic stockpile of essential goods that can cover market needs for up to 6 months, ensuring the availability of essential commodities and price stability, even in the face of unforeseen emergencies." How closely are you as an organisation coordinating with the government? And what sort of signals are you getting from them some 3 weeks into this war?
We work very closely with the UAE government and authorities across all of our markets. The UAE is our home market. We've built over 30 years a supply chain that's resilient and, really open lines of communication and cooperation with the Ministry of Economy here. In fact, just this morning, I was with His Excellency, the Minister, at our distribution center here in Jabal Ali, and he reiterated the same message. And the cooperation is as such that we look at inventory levels not just within our 4 walls, but sort of at a national level. And when you indeed put together the inventory held by retailers, wholesalers, as well as the government, that collectively provides, inventory cover for months.
This is more than just the UAE, of course, as you rightly point out. Your company's reach is across the region. You reported a profit of 41% in 2025. I just wonder, if supply issues continue, could you expect sort of the impact of things like store closures or struggling retailers across the country? And I do wonder just how footfall has been, for example, at the malls, like the Mall of the Emirates, where you are at present. Certainly by, I can see here in Abu Dhabi people are out and about, and I was at the mall just yesterday. People are out, but have you got any statistics to sort of underscore exactly sort of how normal, as it were, things are at this point?
Well, obviously, no one can predict how long the conflict would last or how it will eventually end. Everyone hopes it will end soon and in a permanent matter, but we're entering sort of this period of uncertainty from a point of extreme strength. We just posted our best financial results ever. We have the strongest balance sheet we've had in a decade. And it's not just us, Becky. I mean, you look at the corporate sector here in the UAE and the wider GCC, many companies have had fantastic years last year. The governments across the GCC are in a very strong fiscal position. So everyone is, I would say, reassured that the region collectively, whether private or public actors, are entering this period from a position of strength. Obviously, tourism is down significantly. We see that in our hotels. We see that in the tourist footfall in our malls. But, after the first week, I would say traffic has almost rebounded, I would say anywhere between 80 to 95% in our key shopping destinations. And in some of our destinations that are not really, typical tourism-oriented destinations, we've actually seen slightly better footfall than the same time last year. And as you rightly mentioned, this is the last, days of Ramadan. Eid is around the corner. And I was looking this morning at the pre-booking for cinemas for Eid. I mean, going to a movie during Eid, is a big family ritual for many sort of people here in the region. And pre-bookings for Eid movies is more or less comparable to Eid 2025. So that's also reassuring that domestic consumption, even if tourism is affected, is holding up.